understanding. Good luck.
1917 unfolds as a deeply immersive and emotionally intense war story that places the audience directly into the relentless pressure and urgency of a mission that must be completed against impossible odds. The film's central idea is deceptively simple yet incredibly powerful. Two young soldiers are tasked with delivering a message that could save hundreds of lives, but the path ahead is filled with danger, uncertainty, and the constant presence of death. What makes the story stand out is not just the mission itself, but the way it is experienced, unfolding in a manner that feels continuous and immediate, as if time itself refuses to pause for the characters to catch their breath. From the very beginning, the story establishes a quiet but tense atmosphere, showing the fragile calm before the storm. The soldiers are introduced not as invincible heroes but as ordinary individuals caught in extraordinary circumstances. Their conversation feels natural and grounded, hinting at their fears, their memories of home, and the weight of responsibility that has suddenly been placed on their shoulders. This grounding in reality makes everything that follows feel more personal, as the audience quickly understands that these are not just characters in a story but representations of countless real lives shaped by war. The mission is explained with a sense of urgency that immediately raises the stakes. A planned attack is about to move forward, unaware that it is walking into a deadly trap. Communication lines have been cut, and the only way to prevent disaster is for the message to be delivered by hand. This task transforms the two soldiers into the only barrier between life and catastrophe, forcing them to move forward despite knowing that every step could be their last. The simplicity of the objective contrasts sharply with the overwhelming difficulty of achieving it, creating a constant tension that drives the narrative forward. As they leave the relative safety of their trench and step into the open battlefield, the environment itself becomes an overwhelming presence. The land is scarred, broken, and filled with the remnants of destruction, a visual reminder of the scale of the conflict. Every abandoned structure, every piece of debris, and every silent field carries a sense of history and loss. The soldiers move carefully, aware that danger could be hidden anywhere, and this awareness translates into a slow, deliberate pace that keeps the audience on edge. One of the most striking aspects of the story is how it handles time and movement. The journey feels continuous, with no clear breaks or moments of relief. This approach creates a sense of realism that is both captivating and exhausting, as viewers are forced to experience events as the characters do, without the comfort of distance or pause. The result is an emotional intensity that builds steadily, making even the smallest moments feel significant. The bond between the two soldiers becomes a central emotional anchor. Their interactions reveal a mix of friendship, duty, and mutual dependence. They rely on each other not only for physical support but also for emotional stability, sharing brief moments of humor and reassurance in the face of overwhelming fear. This connection makes their journey more than just a mission. It becomes a shared struggle that highlights the importance of human relationships in the darkest of times. As they progress deeper into enemy territory, the dangers they face become more immediate and unpredictable. The silence of certain areas is just as threatening as the chaos of others, creating a constant uncertainty about what lies ahead. Encounters with the aftermath of violence, rather than the violence itself, often carry the greatest emotional weight, forcing both the characters and the audience to confront the reality of what has already happened and what could still occur. The story does not rely on large-scale battles to create tension. Instead, it focuses on moments of sudden and unexpected danger, where survival depends on quick thinking and instinct. These moments are intense and often brief, but their impact lingers, adding to the overall sense of vulnerability that defines the journey. The soldiers are not portrayed as invulnerable. They are affected by everything they experience, both physically and emotionally. As the mission continues, the emotional toll becomes more apparent. Fatigue, fear, and doubt begin to surface, challenging the soldiers' determination. Yet the importance of their objective keeps them moving forward. The idea that their actions could save lives becomes a powerful motivator, pushing them to endure situations that would otherwise seem impossible. This sense of purpose is both inspiring and heartbreaking, as it highlights the sacrifices required in such circumstances. The environments they pass through are varied yet consistently oppressive. From narrow trenches to open fields, from ruined buildings to shadow-filled forests, each location presents its own challenges and dangers. The changing landscapes keep the journey visually engaging while reinforcing the idea that there is no safe place in this world. Every step forward is a step into the unknown, and this uncertainty is a constant source of tension. Midway through the story, the narrative takes a turn that shifts the emotional focus. The mission becomes more than just a shared effort, placing the weight of responsibility onto a single individual. This transition is handled with care, allowing the audience to fully feel the impact of the change. The sense of isolation that follows is profound, as the remaining soldier must continue alone, carrying not only the message but also the emotional burden of what has been lost. This shift transforms the journey into something even more personal and intense. Without the presence of a companion, the soldier is forced to confront his fears directly, relying solely on his own strength and determination. The absence of dialogue in certain moments emphasizes this isolation, creating a powerful contrast with the earlier parts of the story where companionship provided a sense of comfort. The challenges that follow are relentless, testing the soldier's physical endurance and mental resilience. Each obstacle feels more daunting than the last, yet the mission remains the guiding force that keeps him moving. The idea of failure becomes unthinkable, not because of personal consequences, but because of the lives at stake. This perspective adds a layer of urgency that permeates every moment, making even small delays feel critical. As the soldier moves closer to his destination, the sense of time becomes increasingly important. The race against the clock is not just a narrative device but a constant pressure that shapes every decision. The pacing of the story reflects this urgency, with moments of calm quickly giving way to bursts of action and tension. This rhythm keeps the audience engaged while reinforcing the stakes of the mission. The encounters along the way provide glimpses into the broader world of the conflict. Brief interactions with others reveal different perspectives and experiences, adding depth to the narrative without distracting from the central journey. These moments serve as reminders that the story, while focused on a single mission, is part of a much larger and more complex reality. The climax of the story is both intense and emotionally charged, bringing the journey to a critical point where everything hangs in the balance. The soldier's determination is tested to its limits, and the outcome of the mission remains uncertain until the very end. This uncertainty keeps the tension high, ensuring that the resolution feels earned rather than predictable. When the mission is finally completed, the sense of relief is tempered by the cost at which it was achieved. The story does not celebrate victory in a traditional sense, but instead reflects on the sacrifices that made it possible. This approach adds a layer of realism and emotional depth, reminding viewers that even successful outcomes in such circumstances come with significant loss. In the aftermath, the tone shifts to one of quiet reflection. The soldier, having fulfilled his duty, is left to process everything he has experienced. The journey has changed him in ways that cannot be easily undone, leaving a lasting impact that goes beyond the immediate events of the story. This focus on the emotional consequences adds a sense of closure that feels both satisfying and thought-provoking. Visually, the film creates a powerful sense of immersion, using its continuous style to draw viewers into the world of the characters. The attention to detail in the environments, combined with the careful use of light and shadow, enhances the realism and emotional impact of each scene. The camera movement feels purposeful, guiding the audience through the journey in a way that feels natural and engaging. Sound plays an equally important role, with the use of silence and subtle audio cues adding to the tension and atmosphere. The absence of constant music allows the natural sounds of the environment to take center stage, making moments of action and emotion feel more immediate and impactful. When music is used, it complements the narrative rather than overpowering it, enhancing the overall experience. At its core, the story is about more than just a mission or a war. It is about the resilience of the human spirit, the importance of duty, and the sacrifices made in the face of overwhelming adversity. By focusing on a small personal journey within a larger conflict, it creates a connection with the audience that is both intimate and powerful. The emotional weight of the story lingers long after it ends, leaving viewers with a deeper understanding of the realities of war and the individuals who endure them. It avoids glorifying conflict, instead presenting it as a harsh and unforgiving.